have a media, like let's say a canvas, or you have a fabric that has a coating on it, and you want to be able to build a preset for it, and there's really nothing that's available that quite matches it online on the media locator, I have a little secret path for you I'm going to let you in on. It's a technique I use from time to time. It has some handy applications. Primarily I use it for canvas, some wall coverings, coated fabrics, and some clear films. The reason I use it is because it allows me to do a color calibration and, in many cases, an ICC profile on board the printer using the printer's own calibration equipment. I have color calibration equipment at my disposal. I have I1s, I1IOs, Barbieri's, ISIS, all of them. But a lot of our customers, you don't have those. You have the printer, and the printer has an I1 built into it. But if you go into fabric, you put the ink collectors on and you try to do your own color calibration or preset, it says NA for no, not applicable. Same with backlit. If you go into canvas and you want to put 130% down, it's not going to let you unless you treat it like a backlit, and then it's going to close you out of being able to do the calibration. What I do is I treat them like an adhesive vinyl. There is one category on the printer that will allow you to print more ink, and in doing so also will allow you to calibrate it and to build the ICC. And that is an adhesive vinyl backlit workflow. Now, keep in mind, you're going to have to change some settings, and I'm going to go over some of that. But that is a way, and I found it effective. I've used it in many occasions where I didn't have an I1, and I just used the printer to accomplish it, but you have to treat it like an adhesive vinyl backlit. And let me show you how to do that and show you where that's located. And then we'll go over some of the reasons you would use it, and then also some reasons why you don't want to use it. So, let's go. If you want, and you have certain types of materials that make sense, there's sort of a secret way to print with higher densities and still use the onboard calibration. But it only exists in one category, and that is the self-adhesive vinyl. The way to get there is you go to Substrate Library, and then when that comes up, you go to self-adhesive vinyl. No matter what it is, you're going to have to call it adhesive vinyl. Now, you can print fabric, for example, under self-adhesive vinyl, but you'll have to change the baseline settings. The vacuum settings may be different, and the tension settings may be a little different. But generally, certainly your optimizer is going to be more. But you can change them, and when you do, now effectively, you'll be printing like fabric, but in the self-adhesive vinyl category. What you do is hit New Self-Adhesive Vinyl, and instead of choosing generic self-adhesive vinyl, you're going to choose generic backlit self-adhesive vinyl, and hit OK. Now this is going to add a new substrate. What we're doing is we're using this path to print on, say, a coated textile. So Ultraflex has a coated fabric. I think it's called the C240. And it is a poplin, and one side of it is coated. Well, you can load that poplin with the platen. You can't use the ink collectors, but you don't need them because this is a coated fabric. This coated fabric will sit right on a normal platen. You put that through the printer, put it on the take-up roll, and you can use this pathway to profile it, to do the color calibration and the profile on board a 360 or a 370. And it does work because I've tested it. It's also true of some adhesive vinyls where you want to put a little extra ink. It can be true of anything, some canvases, for example, I put in here. The reason why is that secret path will let me put 130% ink or 150% ink, which some of the canvases benefit from. And this is important. It also allows me to color calibrate it. That is, I create the baseline and then I fingerprint it so that I can refer back to it over time. And you're going to get to this chart and you're going to hit continue. This indicates the 3 charts. And you see here what it's giving you now is 12. 12 is the slowest you can go, all the way up to 20 pass. And it's going to print a density chart that looks very different from the frontlit density chart. It's going to be like a backlit density chart. You're going to have 130, 150, 170, 185, 200, etc. So it's giving you a chart at a slower set of speeds that allows you to put more ink down. And sort of, it's a secret path in a way that if you want to use some more ink. However, beware, because putting more ink down for some materials is not such a great idea. If you're printing on adhesive vinyl and you think you're getting better color just by putting 150% ink down, that may not be the case. You may have been able to achieve maximum amount of ink for a specific Pantone color at 110% density, and 150 is just putting all kinds of extra ink down to no point. The value for me on this is more for certain types of coated fabrics, certain canvases, some wall coverings, things where I want to put more ink down because the material will take it. I also want to use the onboard profiling capability, which will work on many coated fabrics very well. And I'm trying to use it to just get more ink and be able to use the color calibration feature. If you're in backlit, for example, or fabric, it's not going to allow you to use the color calibration, and I do like to be able to apply it. So this is sort of a universal way to apply a higher density setting and have it do a full color calibration and profile. I have also used this to do some like translucent or clear backlits. Now, technically speaking, you need a Barbieri transmissive spectrophotometer to do that. But I have found that in a pinch, if I need to use, say, a clear film, and I need to put some more ink down than 120% because it's going to be in a window and the light is going to knock that color down, I want to have that available to me. I then build it at 150 or 175% through the secret path, the SAV backlit path, and it looks pretty good. You could do better on a Barbieri, but you know what? It's pretty saleable in my opinion. It does do a pretty decent job of sorting it out. So that is the secret way to put a little more ink down through a density path. Keep in mind though, you're going to have all this stuff under the SAV category, so you're going to have to remember where you put it. You're also going to have to remember that when you choose SAV as a default category, it uses certain default settings that are appropriate to SAV or adhesive vinyl. You're going to have to change those settings, these advanced settings. For example, vacuum printing is set at 35, interpass delay. You want to check the settings in the media locator for this material in fabric and change some of these. Because if you don't change them, it's not going to make sense for some of the media you're trying to print on. Canvas may not need these settings. Or for example, Canvas is not going to use 12 optimizer, it's going to use more like 30. Fabric is going to use 24. So the optimizer for sure is going to have to be changed. But other than that, this does work. It is a way to put some more ink down in cases where it makes sense. And that's how you use the secret SAV path so that you can put a little more ink down and then also have the printer do a calibration.